A lot of people want Eskom to shut down their coal-fired power stations, and there's many environmental groups that have complained that Eskom should shut down their coal-fired power stations. And I feel at this stage that we should just shut them down and then let the people face the consequences, because they don't understand technically and basic physics what you need to run a stable grid. They don't understand grids because everyone is telling them that you can just create these little microgrids everywhere. Everyone can just put up the little solar panels at their home or at their business or whatever the case may be, at the mines, etc. And that Eskom's not necessary. This is the message being put out to the public. Now, I'm not a defender of Eskom. I don't work for Eskom at the moment, but I spent 30 years in Eskom since 1992, where I worked on projects. I was a permanent worker. I became a licensed reactor operator. I've synchronized large 950 megawatt generators to the national grid. I've been in the control room through massive grid transients, through brownouts, blackouts, power supply losses. All of these things I've experienced personally. I've seen the grid frequency drop and spike. I've seen all of these things in real time, what these people do not comprehend. And in this article in Mining Weekly, and there's many other related articles, it says that Eskom flags further coal closures delays ahead of official update. So Eskom wants to give an official update in September on what they plan to do. And Dan Morakane has a real problem here, because you have politicians that do not understand physics, that want coal stations to be shut down. Now, if we shut these coal stations down, they can go ahead and do it. You will have stage 16 load shedding. It's that simple. If that is what you prefer, go for it. Enjoy it. I want a stable grid and an economy that can grow. Eskom flags further coal closures delays ahead of official update. It says Eskom's holding CEO Dan Morakane says the state-owned utility will outline its proposed approach in September in relation to the decommissioning of coal-fired power stations beyond 2030. Now, you need to look at 2030 and then 2035, because in those 5 years, we will lose, if not sooner, between 12 and 16,000 megawatts of coal-fired power stations with nothing to replace it. This is what you need to understand. Okay, Eskom has secured limited exemptions from minimum emission standards for 8 of its coal-fired power stations. 6 power stations, Kendal, Letabo, Majuba, Matimba, Medupi and Tutuka, have been granted 5-year minimum emission standards exemptions until April 1st, 2030. So, those exemptions expire then. If you go and look at Kendal, Letabo, Majuba, Matimba, Medupi and Tutuka, I mean, those power stations, some of them are old, some of them are new, like Medupi, for instance, but desulfurization at those stations are going to cost a fortune when those stations are close to the end of their life. So they are going to be decommissioned. That's if they last till then, okay? But at least they can operate till April 1st, and no, it's not an April Fool's joke, of 2030. That's almost 4 years, okay? Speaking at the Coal and Energy Transition Day in Johannesburg, Morakane argued that timing matters 100% for ensuring security of supply, while indicating that Eskom's plan was likely to propose a delay to the closure of the coal stations. Likely. There is no other option. What have we built to replace them? Nothing. There's no nuclear power station being built. There's loads of independent little groups, small little groups, moaning and bitching about new nuclear power stations being built, and they are literally doing everything in their power to stop us from building a baseload capable power supply. And nuclear power stations have to be built at the coast. There is no other option. We need one. We have the anchor near Cape Town. We need one near Kibera, and then we need one up the west coast. At least to anchor those parts of the grid, because a lot of our power is coming over long transmission networks, and these can be put under a lot of strain because there's no power generation along the way. And a grid is a synchronous system, something that many people don't understand. He argued that if generation capacity was not contractually secured and demonstrably available, a closed timetable could not be considered a transition plan, but rather a timetable to a supply crunch, which means we're not going to have enough supply. It's not just a supply crunch, we will have load shedding, people. Like, as Trump says, like you've never seen before. Eskom will therefore continue to apply a rigorous evidence-based assessment to ensure that energy security gains are not reversed and that critical capacity for economic growth is protected. Why should this be Eskom's job? Why is government not making sure that Eskom gets the support it needs to have energy security? Why should Dan be the one saying that we cannot shut down our coal-fired units now? This is ridiculous. Why can it not be Cyril Ramaphosa? Murakani noted that Eskom had previously advocated for the continued operation of 5 coal stations slated for closure during the 2020s. They were supposed to be closed already. While still meeting the country's emission targets, including the carbon emission target linked to Just Energy Transition Investment Plan funding. And this is the thing. It's about money. Europe gives us money, World Banks give us money, and for those loans, they expect us to shut down our coal stations. It's basically Europe transferring their money to us, saying we'd rather have you screw over yourself than us screw over ourselves. Here's the money. Murakani said the cost and system implications of full compliance with minimum emission standards should be assessed within the context of energy security. That's obvious. I don't even know why he should state the obvious, but he feels that he needs to. Affordability and industrial competitiveness. So you can't run a unit when it's falling apart all the time. It's not practical to run it anymore. And this is one of my greatest concerns, is that many of these plants aren't borrowed time. They are way past the commissioning dates already, and you cannot expect them to be reliable. We can expect them to start failing and costing more to repair. And it's not their fault. They should have been decommissioned already. But because we've built nothing new that is baseload capable except Medupi and Kusile, we are stuck in a situation. This is not an argument against environmental responsibility. It is an argument for a balanced, evidence-based approach that reduces emissions while avoiding unintended consequences for security of supply and electricity affordability. Well, I can tell you electricity prices are going to go up again. And NERSA is having a huge debate over whether they should just clump it on us in one shot or do it over 2 years based on the amount of jobs they project will be lost because of it. Beyond 2030, a very frank conversation was needed to assess system adequacy should coal stations be closed before other new generation, including the proposed gas-to-power projects, was in place. There's not a single gas pipeline or gas supply that has been authorized yet in the country's freaking history. So how on earth is it going to happen now? I know a person that designed these gas pipelines, and every single planned installation has been turned down, especially from Saldanha to Ankerlig. So we can run gas turbines much cheaper. And because we need to run these gas turbines with fuel now, it's costing an absolute fortune. It's more than 10 times more expensive. And then he says, we'll pronounce ourselves by September, he stated. So Dan is saying that by September, Eskom will say what needs to be done. I can tell you now already what needs to be done. We need to build new nuclear, and we needed to have done it yesterday. If we do not do that, and we cannot get approval for gas supply to OCGT gas turbines, we are screwed as a country. Totally. Because you must just understand, wind and solar cannot run a grid with battery backup. It's not possible. And I actually spent a lot of time to look at what is being told to the world out there. I spent time with Gemini 3 unpacking what the public is being sold, what the politicians are being sold, and the lies are severe. And I will do a live stream tonight where I will unpack that in detail. So for those of you that want to watch that live stream, it's going to be technical, but it's going to educate you properly so that you can understand how to address all the fakery that's been put out there in mainstream media, because the people in mainstream media do not understand grids. They do not understand the physics, because most of them haven't studied physics at all. So he is saying that we need a frank conversation beyond 2030. We need to have that right now. And if we do not do what Eskom is saying we need to do, which is to build new nuclear to the capacity that's been laid out, we won't even alleviate half of what we are going to lose, maybe a third. He argued too that without energy security, it would be difficult to pursue decarbonization, as renewable energy cannot be integrated into a weak or unstable system. So what he's saying is renewable energy needs rotational, stable, inertia-based, baseload capable power, which is either coal or nuclear. Gas can do the same thing. So that is what we need. We don't have that right now. We have one nuclear power station putting out 1,900 megawatts at Koeberg, and then we have gas turbines running on fuel, which costs a fortune. And then we have the coal-fired power stations that everyone wants shut down. So our task is therefore not to abandon coal irresponsibly. This is important. Our task is to reduce emissions while building technologies, infrastructure and market mechanisms that enable a low-carbon future. This is a pragmatic transition, not an ideological one. So he's saying, and he's being very kind, that ideology needs to be left aside, because ideology is not physics at all. It can never be physics. And like I said, tonight at 7 o'clock, I will be doing that live stream where I will cover in detail the lies being put out there, including by artificial intelligence. And after I tell it who I am, my background experience, how it changes its tune instantly and gives you the raw facts and details. And people need to hear this. It's important. It'll probably take about an hour, but it's an hour well spent. So if you're interested in the lies being sold around battery backups, around solar, wind, etc., you need to listen tonight to what is required to keep a low carbon future, as they call it, alive. What you need to keep solar and wind working, because this is not costed in to the cost of solar and wind at all, which is a crime in my opinion. And I really want to thank you all for watching this video. Please share it with other people. And remember to tune in tonight at 7 o'clock. Do consider becoming a member to support the work that we do on the ground. I'm Desmond Bernardo. I am a power generation expert, a nuclear professional that held a license to run nuclear reactors. And because of my background during grid disturbances, brownouts, blackouts, I have seen how the grid behaves, and I can cut through the noise of just ridiculous people speaking about green, speaking about clean, and not understanding what it actually means. Till the next video.